What's up guys, hungrystingram here, back with myself. Topic of today. Using your strengths. Topic of the day is master and his tools, and how pretty much I'm going to tell a story about how the master and his tools, which one, how they're related to each other, and which one do I think is the one you should be thinking about more. Before I begin with that, I want to talk about, I think a lot of you have played everyone in the world's pretty much played Pokemon before. It's pretty widely known, and you can choose different types of Pokemon. You can choose a very weak Pokemon or a very strong Pokemon. Some people, when they're playing through the whole game, sometimes they like to do it with a very weak Pokemon, like Weedle. Like I saw a person playing Pokemon version, Pokemon. He was playing it was either silver or gold of Pokemon, and he was playing the entire game and beating it with just a Weedle. Now, in case any of you guys don't know, Weedle is the Pokemon with one of the lowest stats in the game. It's pretty much one of the weakest Pokemon, and with the Weedle, the way he beat the game was he pretty much made up for the Weedle's weakness by having a level up quicker, because since it's one of the weakest Pokemon, it also levels up very, very fast. So he levels that up. Then he bought a bunch of items to boost up its attack power and defense power during battles. So he had to get a little bit more creative with his strategy. He had to buy a lot of items. He had to level up his Pokemon, which is regular strategy, but he had to do it even more because it is a Weedle, so he had to level his stats up even more before he prepares to fight whatever battles he wants to fight. So the point I'm trying to make is, sometimes people, artists especially, always debate which one's more important. Is it the master or his tools? Now, I'm going to start with the tools part. With the tools, of course, you want to use the best tools that you can handle. No man wants to use. It's like the Indiana Jones movie. When the guy in the Middle Eastern country was swinging. I'm not sure if it. I think it was a Middle Eastern country. He was swinging his sword around, doing all of this. Indiana Jones is just like, you know what? Fuck it. And he just takes a gun out and he shoots the guy and just says, you know what? Let's just got that out the way, got that stuff. Let's just, instead of fighting to the death with swords, I got the gun, use it right now, get it done, move on. So if you use the best tools that you can handle at the moment, no need to be. I don't believe. If I feel I can get the job done quicker using and like, what's another good example? Basically, if I can feel I can kill a man with a gun rather than with my thumb, if I use my thumb as a weapon, which one would I choose? Would I use my thumb or would I use a sword? I mean, a gun. Of course I use the gun, because you just want to, it's the most effective one for combat. But a lot of the times, however, you can't choose what tools you can use. You only have a certain amount of tools because you're in a restricted environment. Maybe you don't have enough money to buy the tools that you want to use. Maybe the best tools that they say are the best tools, you don't know how to use them because they're a little bit too complex, or they require too much technical knowledge to use. Wherever the circumstances, or that's restricting you from being able to use the tools, use the best tools, whether it's what everyone says are the best tools but you have a hard time using, or because you can't afford to buy the best tools, whatever the case, you have to make sure then that's when you start relying more on yourself and your own creativity and your own power, your own strength to see how to best use your tools. So during this time, the master the master of the tools, the guy using the tools, has to be able to think in creative ways. And the only way to think creatively is to think deeply. You have to be in touch with your, this is called being healthy. And this is what I call being healthy. Healthy, my definition is being able to have a very clear mind for whatever, being able to think clearly and deeply about whatever you're trying to do. You know, knowing what you're, being able to think clearly and deeply about what you're trying to do is what being healthy is about. So, you know, that this involves, to be able to think deeply and properly, you have to make sure, again, this is not, I'm not trying to be a health expert or anything, but, you know, to be able to think deeply, you have to make sure you're eating foods with good life energy, not artificial foods. You have to make sure you're eating live foods, like preferably like organic foods, you know, foods that have life energy in them, like eggs, rice, you know, and carrots, you know, these types of things. Not example of not foods that are not live, or like pizzas, McDonald's, and KFC. Now, another way to be able to think deeply and clearly is to make sure you're balancing out your posture, because your posture's screwed up. You won't be able to breathe properly. Again, breathing, if you're breathing properly, you should be able to think deeply as well. So you have to, and to be able to balance out posture and to promote breathing, that's an entirely different subject that I may talk about maybe later in the future. But pretty much you have to make sure that you yourself have the strength and the health. You need to think deeply so you can use the tools that you're capable of using right now, or the best tools that you can use given your circumstances. So you know, when you can't, if you can, well, I'm pretty much saying, if you can, use the best tools that you can handle at the moment. But if you can't, pick the most. But usually, if you can't pick the tools that's extremely that's, you know, either you can't, or either you don't know enough to handle the tool, or you don't have the expertise or the knowledge to handle the tool, or you can't afford it. You gotta make sure you keep yourself strong. Usually, it doesn't really matter if the tool is good or not. You should still keep yourself strong and be able to think deeply to be able to use the tools, whatever tool you're using, effectively. That way, if you're using good tools or bad tools, like, you know, like what is it? Like in that one show, what history's strongest disciple or something, you know, that the woman that's good with all the weapons, you know, the Shizure, she can use a spoon to beat everybody up with a spoon. She can slice off, she can pretty much potentially kill a bunch of people with a spoon. But her deadliest weapon is a sword. She can just demolish a tank with a sword. So, you know, she's so strong she can use both weapons because she's strong. So that's what I'm talking. If you're strong, you can use whatever weapons you can use, but you know, usually if you can, you pick the best weapon you are capable of handling, and you can capable of handling. But if you can't afford, you know, but point is, you gotta make yourself strong first. That's what I'm trying to say. You gotta make yourself strong first, and you know, and in the best case scenario, you use the best weapon that you can, you choose that you can handle. So I hope that helps, guys. I'll see you guys next time.